So now you can start, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So good morning, everybody. And it's a great pleasure for me to be part of this program. And thanks to Mr. Kishore, who was our friend back in good old days. He roped me in the last minute. So I'm sorry I could not share any slides. But I want to give my opinion or the input on what the regulators expect from the pharmaceuticals. This is a general talk, not in detail about any drug development or the different models available for drug development. I assume your group consists of teachers of all divisions of pharmacy, like pharmacochemistry, pharmacology, pharmaceutical technology, biotechnology, pharmaceutical analysis, quality assurance, control, reg affairs, and community pharmacy, and the whole 9 acts of the pharmacy profession. You guys have a lot of responsibility in shaping the future of the society in general and the students in particular. If you equip the students with the right skill set, they make the lives of other people very happy. The skill set required to enrich themselves and to make the right decisions. I work in pharmaceutical research in generic industry and also a licensed pharmacist in the United States. We often face very challenging questions from the patients and the caregivers. What are the alternatives available? What is the best way to achieve the objective with minimal inconvenience to the patient? And what is the ideal dosage schedules for easy compliance? So all these questions we face day in and day out in the community pharmacy set out. And in the industry side, we get a lot of questions. By law, we need to provide an access number on the prescriber information for all the products which are sold in the United States. So we give a toll-free number, 1-800 number. That number, we get a lot of calls from pharmacists, from physicians, from patients, the caregivers. So we need to provide them a lot of input, scientific rationale for what they are experiencing. In this scenario, I would like to give the regulators' expectations in pharma products. So the regulators' key focus is on the end user, either the patient or the consumer. So what we do and how we do are evaluated with end users in mind. How does this product help? What are the risks available? What are the ways to mitigate the risks? What are the tools available to evaluate the data presented by the various companies or the institutions that file the applications? So all these are evaluated with the patient in mind. The pharmaceutical chemistry part of the product life cycle. So how the product is synthesized, what are the key starting materials, how the product is purified, what are the solvents used, what are the catalysts employed in various stages of drug synthesis, how the API or the intermediates are characterized. So this is the part where the first stage of the product synthesis and their characteristics start. Then the analytical chemistry part. How does the molecule behave? What are the related substances or impurities? How much are the solvents remaining in the material? What is the particle size? What is the polymorphism? Whether the right polymorph is present in the drug substance or not. So is there a chirality? How is the solubility of the molecule? What is the stability of the molecule? So how the methods are developed and evaluated and found out the suitability for its end use. How the methods are validated. How the methods are verified. How the methods are transferred. And the cleaning techniques available to find out the residue left out in the reactors or the kettles. So this is the part of the pharmaceutical chemist. And the next part is the pharmaceutical technology, the pre-formulation, the excipient selections, how much an excipient can be present in a product, what is the toxicology of the at the level of the excipient used in the dosage form, what is the API excipient incompatibility, what is the scale-up effect, how is the robustness of the process developed for producing a dosage form, what is the feasibility of scaling, what are the equipment used in various stages of the product manufacture, the selection of container closure system, whether they are suitable, whether do they protect the product for the intended shelf life, how is the product stability, how much expiry can be given to the product, and what are the fillers used in the product to enhance the stability of the product, like the absorbent cotton or the canisters, desiccant canisters, their compatibility with the product. I'll give you an example here. In one of the product, we find that was in most of the products available, like solid oral products in the United States, are available in the form of bulk packs. The pharmacist dispense them into the individual containers with a specific name, dosage form, the directions, the prescriber name, etc. So this particular product, I don't want to name the product, that product is available in the form of blisters only. And there is no bulk containers available for this product. And the company I was working wanted to develop this generic equivalent to brand. There is no generic, and the first Para-4 challenge. So the formulation development team came up with an idea: why can't we do a pharmacy dispensing container like 30 pack or 100 count with some desiccant, or the filler like absorbent cotton? So that particular product, then during development, so the regulatory team and the quality team and the formulation development team came together and decided we cannot take a chance, because the R&D product, the reference product, is available only in blisters. So when you take a risk of making this into another different container, it may lead to some complication. When it leads to product failure, you don't have a product. So you'll understand this after making all the products, exhibit batches, then the stability. Then to mitigate the risk, the team decided to go with both the packs, like the blister as well as the bulk pack. So unfortunately, in the first month stability testing, the bulk pack failed in the impurity, the related substances, and they were stuck. Fortunately, because the product was packed in the blister as well as the bulk pack, the blister was okay, and the bulk pack was failing in one of the impurities, non-impurities. So when it fails, it simply you can discontinue the study, but the FDA doesn't accept it. You need to investigate what made the product liable, why it failed. So the investigation was continued. You know what? It was identified that the residual peroxides, hydrogen peroxide is used for bleaching the cotton, absorbent cotton. There are residual peroxides present in the cotton, was causing the product to oxidize, and it made to increase the non-impurity. So that was the root cause. So we think that cotton is just fills the space, white space, and it prevents the rattling of the product, but it contributes to instability of the product. So that is important in the selection of the cotton, suitable cotton grade, suitable cotton quality. So what are the residual peroxides can be permitted in the product. So this is the point I want to mention about the compatibility of the fillers like desiccants or desiccant canisters or cotton in the container closure system and the product. Then the pharmaceutical technology group has to make the product equivalent. It's a pharmaceutical equivalent or a pharmaceutical alternative. So pharmaceutical equivalent is not sufficient for the US prescribers to switch the product. It has to be a therapeutic equivalent. So therapeutic equivalent, I think you guys understand. So pharmaceutical equivalent plus bioequivalent plus the labeling and the manufacture in the GMP environment becomes the therapeutic equivalent. So the US pharmacist can switch if there is a generic product available to a brand written by the doctor, unless the doctor mentions on the prescription that DAW, dispense as written. If doctor mentions that if they write DAW, that pharmacist is by law to dispense only the brand. But if the doctor doesn't mention that DAW, the pharmacist can switch an equivalent therapeutic equivalent product. So FDA assures that all therapeutically equivalent products work in the same way. That's the reason all generic products are equivalent to brand products. So that is the responsibility on the pharmaceutical technology team to make the products therapeutic equivalent. And the pharmacology team, they're involved mostly in the bioavailability, bioequivalence, toxicology studies, alternate bioequivalence methods, BCS systems, then pharmacodynamic studies like steroidal formulations. We do pharmacodynamic study. Then the different study approaches applied for highly variable drugs, the intra-subject variability where there's more than 40% variability, there's some molecules like progesterone. So you need to have a different model or a different design for conducting bioequivalence. Then there are narrow therapeutic drugs. So narrow therapeutic drugs, between the toxic dose and the subtherapeutic dose, the range is very low. So you need to have a different design. The statistical analysis of all the data generated. The post-marketing surveillance, you get a lot of questions after launching the product, either on the safety profile or the adverse events or the adverse reports. So the pharmacologists play a major role there. And the quality part is the specification development, the justification of specifications, the protocols for execution. So there are different protocols while developing the product and scaling a product. You execute many protocols. Then the approval of all the documents. This is the quality assurance and the quality control team's responsibility. So the archival of all the executed documents, control of all raw data and metadata, the change management, investigations, deviations, incidents. In a nutshell, everything about the compliance of the quality system. Then the reg affairs. The reg affairs team is the interface between the regulators and the organization. They're involved in the negotiations with respect to specifications, with respect to the various stages of drug development. They are involved in the meetings, either the pre-development meeting or the pre-submission meeting or mid-review cycle meeting. During the review of the application you file with the FDA, there'll be a lot of back and forth communications. The regulatory affairs receive the communication, then they communicate to the internal teams, and they have a strategy to respond. If there are questions, you communicate to the agency, a request for a teleconference or a one-on-one meeting with all the agenda, the options, the alternatives. So they discuss all this. The mid-review meetings, a lot of meetings happen there because there will be a lot of questions. In these days now, even for generic products, there is a GDUFA law. So by law, the agency is bound to respond or they take action on the application within a specified time frame because they're charging a lot of money. So agency is also bound to work on a schedule, and we as an industry also is bound to respond back on the questions they have. They have IRs, there are DRLs, there are CRLs, different ways of communication between the agency and the applicant. So all these responses should be completed, submitted to the agency within the pre-decided timeframes. Then the communication to agencies now the ECTD. So you are all aware. So the ECTD is the only way to communicate to the FDA now. So there is a document lifecycle management system like replace, append, or delete the old document and submit a new document, or replace the old document with a new information. And the document specification, there are requirements for PDF, requirements for images, requirements for text files. There are requirements for your document titles, the length of the document title, the opening settings, then web view, all sort of there are 20 to 30 requirements for the document you submit in the form of ECTD. Then the product lifecycle management post-approval. What are the changes if you are proposing some changes to API source, some changes to manufacturing process, or changes to a product manufacturing site, or changes to a closure system. So all these changes are required to be reported to the agency in different. There are different ways to report post-approval changes. They're called SUPAC changes. You have to evaluate whether it's a critical change or a major change or a minor change. Depending on the change category, there is a reporting requirement like the prior approval reporting, like prior approval supplement, or change being affected immediately, or change being affected within 30 days, or some changes which are very minor, which doesn't affect the quality or the safety of the product, can be reported annually. So that annual report changes, so you can have certain minor changes in the annual report. So this is the product lifecycle management after approval. So there are annual reports, there are periodic safety reports, then all these are the product lifecycle management post-approval. Then in the community pharmacy, the pharmacist, as I mentioned earlier, will dispense a generic product if it's available, if it's approved, and determined to be therapeutic equivalent to the brand. Then there are incompatibilities. There is a polypharmacy. People take a lot of medications. So you need to understand what are if there are any enzyme inhibitors, enzyme inducers. So that you need to identify and tell them whether to distance them or avoid them. So this is the community pharmacy aspect. Then if you see the typical product life cycle, so there are different stages in the product development cycle, like conception to API, to the characterization, pre-formulation, analytical development, product development, scale up, stability study, application for after the stability study. Now the agency required for even generic applications, you need to use 2 lots of API and 3 commercial batches. There is a batch size requirement for different dosage forms. So those many units you need to make it, pack it, and subject to stability study. If it is a liquid dosage form or a semi-solid dosage form, you need to subject the product to in 2 orientations. One is the upright orientation. Other is the worst case, like either horizontal or inverted. So these 2 orientations is mandatory. If you don't conduct the stability study in the required orientation, if you don't use 2 lot numbers, if you don't make 3 batches of required sizes, the product will not be accepted for review. If the agency determines that there are major deficiencies, one major deficiency or 9 minor deficiencies, the FDA will not accept your application for review. It's called RTR, refuse to receive. So that costs a lot of money. 25% of the filing fee, they take it as penalty, and you are out of the queue. When you are out of the queue, you lose the chance of approval in time. So this is crucial for the para 4 filings, like patent challenges you do. So when you challenge a patent, an RLD, and you're successful, you get 180 days exclusivity. Then when you get exclusivity, you make a lot of money. The company makes a lot of money. So when your product is RTR'd, like refuse to receive, then you're out of the queue and you lose that opportunity to make the money there. So the application has to be complete in all aspects. Then the agency will accept it and they give you a goal date. So it's generally 10 months now. From the day they receive the application, the decision will be made on 10 months, within 10 months. So means either they approve the product in 10 months, or if there are major deficiencies in the data, then they give you a complete response letter, and the complete response letter you can respond within 1 year. So your product will not be approved within that 1 year, 10 months period. So whatever you prepare, whatever data you generate has to be complete and accurate. So that you get the approval in time. Otherwise, you'll miss the boat, and you're one among many it will become. So the review, during review, you get a lot of questions. Those questions are bound to be answered within the time frame. Like IR, generally they give for information request. IR is information request. They give 5 to 7 days time to answer. Then if the DRL, the decision response letter, deficiency response letter, for a quality division or a bio division or labeling or facility or quality, so they give you 30 days time. So within 30 days, you need to respond to be live with the goal cycle. So if you don't respond within those 30 days, you may be moved out of that review goal cycle. So the compliance has to be complete, has to be supported with a lot of data within the time frame. Then you get an approval. So when you get an approval, so it's a commercial manufacture, process validation, cleaning validation, then product launch. When you launch the product and the new trouble starts, like post-manufacturing, post-launch activities like drug listing, then the periodic adverse event reporting, then monitoring the stability of the product continuously. You need to put every year one lot, one batch of the product on stability, monitor them, and record the observations, like there's any physical change or the chemical changes. So these need to be informed. If you find, or if you have a problem with the product quality, like if some impurity, you find that it's going out of specification, there is a field alert requirement for the FDA. Within 15 days, you need to inform the FDA that, so some product which is on stability, we have a problem, we are investigating, this is the first information report, like FIR. FIR, they call FIR, field alert report. You have to give to the nearest district, FDA district office. So then you need to communicate with them the progress of the investigation. You have to, if it needs to be, if the investigation, the OS is confirmed, then if the product is in the market, you need to make efforts to recall the product. So recall costs a lot of money, and it costs your name and fame, goes out. It will be published, and it will be communicated to all healthcare professionals that so-and-so lot of so-and-so product, so-and-so manufacturer is recalling. The recall it, you guys understand, there are different levels of recalls, the consumer level, at the pharmacy level, at the wholesale distributor level. So depending on the severity of the problem, if the mix up of the product, they do one type of recall. If there is a stability failure, there's another type of recall. So depending on the severity of the problem, the recall is made. The recall costs a lot of money, and your reputation is gone. So one has to be careful in dealing with the products intended for the regulated markets like US. So these are this is the life cycle of the product conception to the marketing. So there are certain products, for bioequivalence or alternate bioequivalence. I want to touch upon one or two things like BCS. So in BCS, one, highly soluble and highly permeable, and permeability determination is not through the scientists and your teacher community. It's established through either the cell lines, or there are certain other ways, like if you can establish that the drug absorbs fast, it reaches more than 90% of in the blood concentration, then you can convince the agency that it's highly permeable drug molecule. We have done in one molecule based on the literature information. We convinced the agency that this is highly permeable without conducting the permeability, in vitro permeability study. But you need to establish other parameters like solubility, the dissolution, the gastrointestinal stability at the different pHs. So these are mandatory, but the in vitro permeability study, they waived it and they approved the product. So you can do that. And certain steroidal topical products, you can do the blanching study, skin blanching study, the vasoconstriction study, that's a pharmacodynamic studies. So Q1, Q2, some of the products, FDA published the specific product-specific guidances. Like some products, BioWaiver can be granted if they are Q1, Q2, and Q3. So Q1, Q2, Q3, you understand Q1 is a quantitatively similar, plus Q3 is the physicochemical characters of the API molecules similar, like the particle size or the solubility profiles or the polymorphic characters. So all these, if you match them, like viscosity profile, drug release. So if you match these products with the reference product, so they may waive. The agency may waive in vivo bioequivalence studies. So these are the some of the examples and some of the concepts I want to talk, but due to the time given to me is around 30 minutes. It's almost 24 minutes done. If you have any questions, I'll take this, and I'll be glad to answer your questions even after the session is done. So I can, the organizer can share my email to you. You can send me on any of the regulatory compliance and quality aspects on the drug product and drug manufacturing. So I'll be happy to